Hey and welcome to the Creative Odyssey podcast, a podcast about entrepreneurship, creativity, and personal growth by me, Emil Ruth. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. So, I am here today with Hasan Kubba. And Hasan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time and coming on the show. I'm super curious about your upbringing. And why don't you just introduce yourself? Who are you?
Sure, my name is Hasan Kubba. I'm the author of the book, The Unfair Advantage. I'm the co-author, actually. The Unfair Advantage, How You Already Have What It Takes to Succeed. It's a book all about success and where does success come from. And it uses examples from tech startup founders. It's a lot about entrepreneurship, self-development, and finding your own inner and outer strengths to succeed in business and in life and in careers and whatever project you want to do.
Yeah, thank you. How did you get until the point? So who was Hasan before writing the book?
So I was born in Iraq, in Baghdad. And at the age of 3, I came with my family to London, and I've lived here in England my whole life, so I'm British. And I didn't know what I wanted to be when I was older. I always had this problem of thinking, what do I do as a career? What do I do after university? And it's from my culture, you either become a doctor or an engineer. And so the idea was that I was going to be a doctor, but then I dropped out of that path. And instead I studied economics. But that didn't solve things, because what do I do after economics? Like, what's the actual job? And so I considered banking and working in the city of London in finance and things like that, which is the typical path. But it really didn't appeal to me. I remember graduate students would come, well, graduates, not students. So graduates would come and they have jobs in, like, let's say investment banking or something. And they'll be bragging, oh, I was in the office for 72 hours straight the other day and things like that. And I was just thinking, like, that sounds awful. What's so good about that? Like, why are you bragging? And yeah, the money's good, but like, if you don't have the time to spend that money, so then you're not the master of your own life. You know what I mean? So I left university, I graduated, and I didn't have a job lined up. Like, I purposely thought I'll take some time out to think about it. And I came across an online course about how to start a freedom business. Now, the idea behind this business was like, if you can work from anywhere, if you can make passive income, if you're location independent, no boss, and you're creating real value in a real business. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. It was $2,000 at the time. And this is like 2012. This is a long time ago now. And that was a lot of money for somebody who doesn't have a job. But I had saved up some student loan stuff and I thought, let me take this risk. And it was a good risk. Everyone told me it's a scam. I mean, literally everyone was like, oh no, that's what you're doing. How could you think that you can make passive income? This is crazy. But I kind of had faith from, like, this is a real business. It's just an online business. And so I tried to start the business, and then I kept being perfectionist, and I kept procrastinating launching, and I kept delaying, and I kept not launching and not making any money and not doing any business. And my parents were like, Hasan, what are you doing? You said you're starting a business. What's happening? You've done nothing. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I got a job in the city of London in sales roles. Like 2 jobs, 2 months here, 2 months there. And then I was like, okay, cool. Like, I think I get the idea. I hate having a boss. Now I have enough motivation to just get started and stop being scared, because I couldn't admit to myself that it was fear that was holding me back, actually. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, that sense of perfectionism. Oh, the website's not ready. Oh, my business is not ready. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Finally, I quit my job. By this time, it was already early 2014. And so that's when I launched. And it took a year and a half or to 2 years to actually reach a stage where I stopped working crazy hours. Actually, I was working like really long hours, working really hard to try to make the business work. And then by the time it was like a year and a half into it, 2 years into it, I was able to really have the passive income lifestyle. I was like, my business was making money for me. I had a team all over the world. And essentially I was just invoicing clients, and my team were taking care of the systems, and team would take care of everything. So I achieved my goal, and then I was like, now what do I do? And so it was great to just go to like Southeast Asia and travel and things. But after a short time, a few weeks, a few months, it's really boring actually. And one thing I learned is that passive income made me passive. So I had to have kind of something to push me, or something to challenge me, or some new project to work on. And I wasn't very ambitious in the sense of like I just trying to build a big company or a big business. I was more just like, I just want this lifestyle, and that was it. It wasn't like beyond that, which is kind of looking back a little bit of a shame, because I could have built something bigger if I had pushed myself. But that was just kind of my mindset at the time. And anyway, it was that time that I met Ash Ali, the co-author of the book, and he had just had a big success, a big IPO with Just Eat. And Just Eat is a food delivery startup. They had an IPO in 2014, and he was one of the first senior members of staff. Just Eat is actually originally a Danish company, funnily enough, but they used London as their base for international expansion. Now it's a huge, huge business. Anyway, so Ash taught me about the tech startup world. I knew about the online business world, and internet marketing and things like that. But Ash taught me about the tech startup world. I was like, whoa, this is a crazy world where it's like angel investors, VCs, raising millions, startup founders, like apps. And so we started to dabble in a bit of angel investing together. He was already doing that, and I became I would go to his office. He didn't live too far from me, like 15-minute drive from me in London. And I would go to his office, and people would pitch. It was like a Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. And it was through those experiences that we thought, we'll write this book, The Unfair Advantage. It was through the experiences of our businesses, our backgrounds, but also what we were seeing when people would come and pitch us to raise funding for their startups. And that was basically the inspiration behind the book.
Thank you for the deep dive on how you got until there and how you met like Ash Ali. And I think that's a great thing that you got up there. I think one of the examples that stuck with me the most is, we can get into this framework a bit later, but the example that stuck with me the most is the WhatsApp versus Snapchat upbringing of the founder's upbringing. So you don't, this is like the first thing that you think of being, having an unfair advantage, basically meaning more money, more status, richer parents. He's like, people would say, look at him, he's set up for success. Look at his parents. He, has no, other path before, because it's already laid out for him. This is one of the examples that I still have on my mind, that you don't need to have like this crazy upbringing. Like the WhatsApp founder did pretty well in comparison, maybe even better in comparison, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Did really well.
So how was the writing process? I mean, writing a book is not easy. I'm on it too, and every time, and I don't even think it's perfectionism, but you need to have something that is like valid and good and enjoyable, and not full of like BS advice, and you have to stand behind it. And now you have two people writing together. So how was your workflow?
Oh, nice. You're working on a book. That's exciting to hear. Or I don't want to dive into that more as well. But so our process for writing the book, people ask us, like, how long did it take you to write the book? And it's kind of interesting to answer that question, because it depends. Does it, like, the answer is like either 4 years or like 4 months, because the actual writing was 4 months. And refining the process and everything, including start to end, was about 4 years. like thinking of the idea, refining it, etc. Sort of started in 2016. The book came out in, well, I guess you can't include the time when it takes to publish it. So maybe like around 3 years versus like 4 months of actual writing time. Essentially what happened is that we thought we'd just self-publish the book, Emil. We just thought, okay, we'll just write something, we'll self-publish it on Amazon.
Yep.
It really didn't enter our minds too much to get a publishing deal because, in our minds, you need to be an academic or a celebrity or a big influencer to write a book, to get a book deal, I mean.
Yeah.
To become a published author. So we thought we're just going to self-publish because we didn't like promote our lifestyles or our success on Instagram or social media or something.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't doing all of that stuff. So we were just under the radar, no big following at all, like just maybe a couple thousand of people just following our personal, it's kind of like a personal Instagram or personal whatever. But what we did is we followed like a startup thinking. So we had an MVB, a minimum viable book. It was 10,000 words. And that's the one we worked on first. It was the core of the book idea. And we were going to self-publish that. And literally on the day that was going to be self-published, we were approached by a literary agent. So it seems like a Hollywood movie because I swear, literally on the day I was going to hit publish on Amazon, she got in touch and said, please meet me. Please don't publish it on Amazon because I think that I can get you a book deal. And we were very skeptical. So we met her. She said, look, give me 3 months and I think I can get you a book deal. And we were like, we'll give you 3 weeks. Let's see what you can do. And within those 3 weeks, we got our first offer from Bloomsbury Books, which is the publisher for Harry Potter. And so we're like, wow, that's really, really cool. That's it. Like we didn't expect anything else. That's it. We thought, oh, maybe one day we'll celebrate by going to the Harry Potter world. And actually, we then received a second offer from a second publisher and a third offer from a third publisher. And so it was amazing. So that was great. And it was all because of the concept of the book being so fresh and new, and they loved it. And I think the concept is what made the book a success, essentially.
Yeah.
So we ended up becoming published authors. The book came out in January 2020, like 6 weeks before lockdown, literally. So our book tour was like interrupted with all the lockdowns and the pandemic stuff. And we were like, oh, well, that sucks. We were going to go on some big podcasts. We were going to speak at Oxford University. I think there was even Cambridge was on the table as well. And some celebrity podcasts we were going to go on. All cancelled, not even postponed, because at that time, no one even knew what was happening with COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
It was literally all cancelled. And so we were like, okay, well, let's just hope for the best. What can we do? And our book went viral on YouTube. So thankfully, it went viral with Ali Abdal, did a review of it, and that went viral. And then after that, there's been videos that's even been more viral than Ali Abdal's. So it's gone viral multiple times on YouTube. We won the W.H. Smith Business Book of the Month when it came out. We then won the Startup Book of the Year. And then that's one category in the Business Book Awards. And then we won all the categories. So we won the Business Book of the Year. And that was really unexpected and really exciting. From there, we got a book deal in the US, which is very, very difficult to break the US market.
Yeah.
So that came out in June 2022. And it's now being translated into many different languages. The latest one is Japanese, which is happening, I think, this year, which is very exciting. So that's the journey. It's been like a crazy journey, unexpected. And now I give advice and help other people, including Ali Abdal. I helped him with his book, and I help a lot of different people to get book deals, to get publishers interested, to come up with amazing concepts, to write amazing book proposals, teach them all about the publishing world, getting an agent, how to attract publishers, how to structure the book, how to do a marketing plan for the book to become a bestseller. All of these topics is things that I do. So it's kind of high-end consulting is what I do.
Yeah, I can see that it works, and I can definitely agree that the concept is what gets the people, and that's why I think it worked on YouTube as well, because it's like unconventional and a bit polarizing, because most people just think about another mindset based approach to success, and now you're shaking things up and see any kind of success has like factors that are unfair, and anyone can have like their unfair advantage. And you kind of you are kind of like realistic and see that different people have different unfair advantages, but in the same time you're still like empowering the people to acknowledge their unfair advantage, and not just like here's a guy who's like super rich from the start, and here's another guy who is just extremely intelligent, and you're reading it and think, oh, I'm none of that, what is mine? But you make people like think, is maybe living in a smaller town, could this be an advantage in my unique case? Can I approach the market different here if I'm like an entrepreneur trying to start a business in like a smaller town where you're like the only one doing it and you're doing great, or versus being like in a city like London and you're like the 1000th who got the same idea? And this really made me think in some kind of ways. But congrats in like belated congrats to all the awards. I've seen the business book of the year. This is pretty cool. And cool that you mentioned like Ali Abdal on this place, because I thought it is, I mean, it's not the same, but I think you had at one point like a similar path.
Yeah.
Like very traditional expectations, and he went on to become a doctor and then switched up, and you switched up the traditional expected way a bit before, and then economics, and then switched up. I think this is pretty cool. And not to be super promoty here, but I think that your approach definitely worked on his book, because I've seen like Good Field Productivity is a massive success. I mean, not being like successful as a creator doesn't mean you can automatically sell a book. This is good. There's tons of celebrities who produced flops in the book market.
Exactly.
So I think your work is pretty good. If you were involved in it, to that extent that it really influenced a lot of his work, then I think you have done pretty good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's not just Ali as well, because Ali, of course, he had a big audience, right? So that helps, obviously. That's a big unfair advantage. But I've done it with people who have no audience, and they became USA Today bestsellers, and gotten book deals and gotten literary agents, all just from the power of their book concept. So, it's something that I've been able to have a proof of concept, even for somebody who's not got 5 million YouTube subscribers. Well, he didn't have 5 million when we first started working together, but it was still a high number. It was like over 1 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice. I've got like 10 people I've worked with now, and all of them so far have. The process takes a while. So they've either at least been signed by an agent, or they've gotten a publishing deal, or the book has even come out. They've reached the stage of the book's come out, and they've hit a bestseller list or something like that. So that's amazing, and I'm proud of that. And it's not all because I'm so great. It's also because I choose the winners as well. I don't work with anybody, but I have a very open door policy. Anybody who wants to have a chat about their book concept and idea, as long as they're serious about it. It's not just like as long as they're serious about like wanting to become an author.
Yeah.
Then I let them just to book in a time. There's for example, on my website and on my LinkedIn, there's a link to book in a time in my calendar. So like hasankubba.com. And I like to help people, and I like to brainstorm and give them feedback and things like that. So yeah, it's something. And then I do choose, and then I do make the choice of like who I work with. And if I think they have an interesting idea, if I think that it has potential, etc. So yeah, that's been the process, and it's been a great track record, which is why I've niched, because I was doing business coaching, right? I was Ali Abdal's business coach at first, for example.
Good to know.
But I niched down into this, so I still do like stuff with tech startup founders. I still do stuff with ed tech companies, AI companies, YouTubers. There are still some things like that, but for the most part, I niched down about a year ago to only promoting myself as somebody to help people with their book, to get a book deal, to become a published author, to become a published bestseller, to actually get their book in bookstores. And that's kind of been the process.
Yeah, I really like your mindset and approach, that you are like open to like everybody, but you don't work with anybody, and this way where your selection comes in. And I think that this is a good approach in many things. So be open and be selective. These are not mutually exclusive things, right?
Exactly. And try to, basically what I'm trying to do is not to overpromise. That's the idea. I like to be realistic and give real feedback to people, and not just to say, yeah, you can do it too, just blindly saying, encouraging people only. Of course, I do encourage, but I also give a dose of reality of like, okay, because self-publishing is not so bad. Like I said, I was going to self-publish.
Yeah.
But it's just a case of like, do they have enough unfair advantages to get published? And it's not just from having a big audience. Of course, that's the biggest unfair advantage probably you can have. But it's not just about that. There are other ways to do it, and I've done it, and I've done it for others as well. So that's the cool part of it.
Yeah. What would you say is your unfair advantage?
Right. So mine is... It's interesting because unfair advantages, it's like saying, what blessings do you have in your life? There's too many to count, but you can go all the way back to choice, to where you were born, to what school your parents put you in, to what passport you have, to what kind of natural strengths you have. So for me, I'm really, an unfair advantage is that my parents left Iraq, right? An unfair advantage is that I was brought up in London. An unfair advantage is that, let's talk about internal strengths. I think one of my internal strengths that's really helped me on my entrepreneurial journey, to not have a boss, etc., is I would say breaking down complex ideas, and of course that helped with the book. So I don't explain things in a way that's full of jargon. I explain it so for example, if I work with a business owner, and he wants help with his marketing or strategy, then I won't overwhelm him with information and jargon and stuff. I will make it simple and straightforward. And I think that helps. The other big thing is trust. I think I'm good at building trust because it's been such a strong value in my life to have integrity, and therefore to keep my word and not overpromise, and those kinds of things, which really, really helps in business. I think it's underrated because careers, it's not a short-term game, it's a long-term game. And it's like you keep running into the same people, your reputation, your career. It's very important to be honest, but at the same time to be. It's interesting because I used to be so worried about, because I don't think of myself as a natural entrepreneur. Right? I took this course, and I say in the book I'm an unnatural entrepreneur. One of the things I needed to learn is a skill in entrepreneurship is let's say a client comes to you and says, do you have this service? And it's a service that you don't really do, or you haven't done before, especially when you're starting out, there's going to be common. I think the correct answer is to say, yeah, we can do that. And then to figure out how to do it. I mean, this isn't for something crazy or impossible. It's something that's very learnable. It's good to have this kind of confidence in your resourcefulness to learn something. So let's, for example, say that you do marketing, and then a client says, can you build a website for us? Maybe you don't know how to do that, but it's not going to be hard to figure it out, and not even necessarily do it yourself, to delegate it. So one of the things, because I was talking about keeping your word and being honest. But one of the things also is to just have a belief in your own resourcefulness. So in such a situation, if a client says, "Can you do that?" Well, you say, "Yeah, sure." But you don't make any false deadlines or false "yeah, I could do this in this many weeks." Like, no, but you just say, "Yeah, we can figure that out. Just bear with me, and I'll get back to you." And then just look into doing it. Like that's a very important skill for entrepreneurship, because you have to understand that these things are very doable. Like, oh, can you create a custom GPT based on my like, even if I've never done that before, I could figure it out, and then you figure it out. It's not. I'm talking about these little things, nothing too crazy or impossible to make false promises. I'm talking about like things that have been done by others before, which doesn't require rocket science. You could figure it out. It's okay. So that's. I just wanted to add that as it was an important skill for me to learn early in my journey, is to be able to have that confidence to be like, yeah, I could do that, and then to figure it out and to hire the right people, and to take some risk, and to that's important, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely find myself in the situation as well, where I've heard so much about niching down and like segmentation of your customers, and really know what your services are. On the one hand, like, don't offer anything, like everything, and you're not like a marketplace for various microservices. But on the other hand, I think if you're starting out and you need like cash flow, you basically cannot afford to leave these things like on the table.
When you're starting out, don't say no to things too easily, just because you need to just explore and see what works. One of the early insights I had is that usually when I'm working, because I was doing kind of marketing consultancy kind of agency stuff, is that actually a lot of business owners, they just kind of want one point of contact. They don't want a different website person and a different Facebook ads person and a different SEO person and a different, they want to kind of go, and this is my internet person, this guy does all my internet stuff. And so that kind of, you have to understand also the psychology of the end user too. Sometimes they want an integrated all-in-one kind of solution, and sometimes not. It depends on the client, it depends on the service. And I think that was the thing that I realized, is that is what they wanted. And then I've kind of niched down at the time into SEO, which is what helped me to create a passive income stream, because websites is quite difficult to make that into a passive automated thing.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense to kind of be the one in charge for like the customer, and you then handle all the delegation if needed, if you cannot do anything yourself. Exactly. I've never thought about like the psychology of the customer. Like you're being like the one they talk to, and you manage anything else you need from other people to help to get like the product or the service for them, instead of they just need to assemble a whole team to basically have one who's doing the website and another one who's doing the SEO. And I think that really aligns with your value on being like breaking down the complexity when it's needed.
Exactly, because they just want he's the internet guy. I'll tell you a funny story. It was to such an extent that some of the people, this wasn't the clients directly, but maybe their managers that work under them, will like call me. This is early on in the journey when I was, much more accessible and things like that. They will call me and say, "Oh, our printer's not working," because they think of me as the computer guy. They don't understand the distinction of marketing versus printer troubleshooting.
It's basically the same thing.
In their head, it's the same thing. And so it's interesting to kind of understand the psychology. And this wasn't the client. He wasn't the one doing that. But like, you see what I mean? It was like, that's how simplistic some people think of it. And, they call it the curse of knowledge. When you know about a field, you assume everybody knows about it. But they don't. They just, like, that manager that worked under one of my clients was just thought of me as, he's the computer guy, right? That's how they thought of it, because I did the website, so I'm obviously a computer guy. And so, that's a funny thing about it. You have to understand that curse of knowledge is like, all this stuff, they don't. Your job is to make it simple for them, because, for example, an entrepreneur, he doesn't need to understand everything in every piece that's required in his business. He needs to delegate. So That's the key.
Yeah, I sometimes think about an entrepreneur being someone who's more like an assembler. Is that even a word?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
someone who's not. I mean, can be the builder of something, but is most of the time the assembler of anything else. That is, he cannot do anything. I mean, no business would ever grow if the CEO would be doing the thing all the time himself and doing customer support and sales and marketing. And
well, it's like, have you heard when somebody can cook well, right?
Yeah.
They tell them, "Oh, you should open a restaurant." Like, that's not the same thing.
Yeah,
That's not the skill.
and I
Cooking is
would
not
never
the skill
do that.
required for a restaurant.
I could never do that. And this is like one of my favorite examples. I would never open up a restaurant. The thought alone is so stressful for me.
Me too.
And to do like performative cooking, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, and like imagine all the systems and how much is based on people. And so you
Yeah.
have to be a really good manager of people, and you have to like, you know, this person is sick one day and this person is in a bad mood the other day, because it's like mostly restaurant businesses are built on people, and the ones that succeed are the ones that can automate or systemize as much of it as possible, like McDonald's or something. That's a successful business. But it's tough. So yeah, I would hate that too. It'll be nice. It's a nice fantasy of owning my own restaurant. But the reality of it is like, oh man, there's so many pieces to get right.
The fantasy, I think it's more about, I want to open up my own cafe or my own restaurant, but you don't want to like run a restaurant for like 20 years or so. You just want to open it up and have like I think that is one part of the assembler mindset of like an entrepreneur. And I think gastronomics is something else, and you need to be really, really, really good with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Have you seen The Bear, this series?
Yeah, I've seen some of it. I haven't watched the whole. There was one really cool episode where it was like all one shot. I really enjoyed that. Did you see that?
I've just seen season 1, so don't spoil me if this is not.
I think it is season 1. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's like it's like what it really feels like to run a restaurant. Yeah,
yeah.
It's a good show.
I mean, this is the craziest meltdown, and I don't think like being an entrepreneur is extremely different from that, but this is like highly exaggerated, but it makes really feel about people. And I've seen many different parallels, and being like, I don't know all of the names, but it doesn't matter really. Like the one who's doing like the pastry stuff, and he needs more space to like develop himself and to get like the motivation. And like the sous chef needs more authority to get a bit more power, so people listen to her and stuff like that. And it's really crazy that like the whole whole system of like what's it called, French Brigade, and like this is a whole hierarchy system in such a small scheme. And this is one of the things where I think I couldn't really work in that situation, and would rather prefer a much more freedom-based approach. Maybe something you've done like completely or mostly completely independent, or at least doing more like freelancing or stuff where you have a lot more freedom and people don't shout at you if you get sick because you're missing actually in this crazy thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, you obviously help, I wouldn't say a lot, but you have helped a number of people doing really great with books. Are you planning on writing or concepting a new one?
Yes. I am working on a concept right now. It's on the early stages. It's not on the top of my agenda.
Yeah.
I'm actually focusing more on, right now I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I'm going to start YouTube soon. That's the plan. And just to being more of a creator and building more of a list before my next book. But yeah, I have some ideas in mind. I've worked on some new IP, some new concepts, and absolutely, I'll be working on more books in the future. So that's the plan for me. But in the meantime, I think I'm focusing a bit more on concept, being a creator.
Yeah. So create a first approach. I think many people would agree that being a creator nowadays is like one of the biggest things you can do, and
100%.
I think that would be great if like Ali would shout out you and feature you on the video or something like that. That would really be cool to see people like helping out others. And I think this is nothing unfair, like an unfair advantage might be, but I really like to see creators like genuinely want to help out other creators, not as in a form like a promoting deal that would seem like ingenuine and fake, and people would see that. But if like shouting out and like he talking about your book, and I've seen the video, I think maybe the video got me into like getting the book. I think at the time like productivity was at its highest peak, and I think Ali Abdaal being like the productivity guru, YouTuber, creator made me want to read that book.
Nice.
So,
but Ali's very, very. I have to say, he's very gracious and generous with.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good friend of mine now. So very gracious and generous with support. And I'm sure that if he liked something I did on my channel, he wouldn't hesitate to promote it, because he's just like that. Like, not just me because I'm his friend, but in general, if he likes something, he'll promote it. Like he's not gonna like try and get some kind of deal or something. He's just he's genuinely a very, very generous and kind person. So and he's actually has shouted me out in terms of my consulting services and things like that. He's been very generous. So yeah, Ali's lovely.
Yeah, maybe I can talk to him in the near future as well. I'm really curious actually, but I almost forgot what I wanted to say. What was my point again? So I think it's like the genuine thing. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to know what your videos, if you're going to start like YouTube, going to be about. Just
great question, because I've been thinking about this question a lot, and I've had lots of different ideas in the past. There was one concept which I might come back to called Success Decoded. This is what I called the concept and the channel idea, or the series idea. And the idea of it was to do deep dives into people and things. It could be companies, it could be products, it could be countries, it could be something in history, where I can break down their success and what made them successful.
Yeah.
And so, in fact, the answer is that yes, I will be doing Success Decoded, but I'm going to specifically focus on books, but including fiction books. So I'm going to be focusing a lot on books. What's their concept? Because I think concept is the main thing. Giving them a review if that's relevant, and breaking down why I think they succeeded. So that will be fun. It will also include, you mentioned The Bear. So it will also include shows and movies as well in the future. So I might just start with non-fiction books and then expand out to some fiction, expand out to some TV shows, to some movies, because I love asking the question of what's the concept behind this series or this show or this franchise or this movie or whatever. And it can also apply to startups. It can apply to products. Like, what's the concept? And embedded in that is concepts of storytelling as well. Like, I've been studying storytelling a lot. So that will be the concept behind my YouTube channel. And I think this is an exclusive to your podcast. I think this is the first time I mentioned that this is my plan. So keep an eye out. My plan is to start that this summer. And my LinkedIn content will also have more of that as well. And then in the future, I can do my idea of like talking about, like the unfair advantage of the British Empire, or of like historical Alexander the Great, or something, stuff like that. I think that'll be fun. So yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah, sounds really great. And let me know when the channel is up, so maybe I have the chance to become your first subscriber.
Yeah, no, actually, the channel's already up. It's been up for years, but I haven't launched it.
Yeah,
Like, I've just done some videos. So if you check out Hasan Kubba on YouTube, give it a subscribe, so that when I do my first video, then you can check it out. I already have like 1,600 subscribers, like 1.6.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, like it's from doing hardly anything. So yeah, it's interesting because you earlier said like a creator first approach, but remember, I've done a book, so it's not a creator, it's a book first, then creator, then more books. So that's the thing. Some people tell me, oh, I want to do a book, but after I've built an audience. That's the channel, you showed me on video.
Yeah, just subscribed.
Nice. So they say like, oh yeah, I want to do a book, but once I have a big audience. And I'm like, oh, well, that's crazy. Like that's not a book. A book is already hard enough, and you're saying once I have a big audience, then that's a huge challenge what you're placing for yourself. It's a bit like saying, I don't know, I will start to maybe once I win a Nobel Prize, I'll become a professor. Okay, that's a bit extreme, but it's a bit like it's that hard. Or
it's
maybe
like
not that
too hard.
It's
things.
Like quite hard. It's quite hard to build an audience. It's quite hard to be a successful creator. I mean, to get a few thousands, yeah, maybe. But like to actually make it big and to hit like, what's the number we can say? Let's say 100K subscribers on YouTube. Let alone 1 million, which is where people really start to respect somebody with 1 million plus subscribers. 100K is like, oh yeah, they're on their way. They don't even not even considered as like, oh, he's super successful YouTuber. They'll be like, oh, he's on his way. So yeah, that's why I just wanted to add that. Like, I really think that if you have a book idea, like start with the book, because then it gives you some. Because refining a concept for the book can be the concept for your channel, and that will give you. Because people, what do people struggle with most? I coached a lot of YouTubers, right? A lot of aspiring YouTubers, a lot of people who wanted to be creators, and the biggest challenge for them is niche. Like, what's their niche? What should I talk about? And you know what? If you do the process of refining a book idea and a book concept, that can be what your channel is about. That can be your niche. That will already define what your niche is. So it's actually very powerful, and it could be a self-published book, but it'll give you, doing the strategy and thinking about the concept will really give you clarity on what you might become as a creator, as a personal brand, as a thought leader. Like writing a nonfiction book helps you to become a thought leader, not just, some influencer.
Yeah.
I think that's key. I think that's a very important piece.
Yeah, I always think that having a book published is really something that gives you a bit more like respect and prestige and authority in the field, like being a thought leader.
100%, yeah.
So if you're known for a certain topic, you have a book on it, and it makes a big difference how you're perceived. And I can definitely see that once I have 100K followers or subscribers, then I'll publish a book is super hard, because I think writing a book in itself is something really obtainable. I mean, writing a book, not writing a great book. I mean, just technically having a book, you just start writing and then you're finished. I think building an audience is much harder and less predictable.
Yeah.
And so I can 100% agree that if you have any idea you can build independently, you should just start building and not wait. It's like just another example where waiting is like literal waiting is no, I can't publish a book because I'm too young. Maybe I need to be like 50 and have this years of experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In any aspect of life, whenever somebody says, I will do this once I hit this, usually it's a bad sign. Like, there are some cases where I guess you should wait, but usually it's a bad sign to say, I'll do this once I hit this, because it's like you're not going after your goals directly. You're like doing some like side quests or not even a side quest. It's like, okay, so let's think of the creator. Oh, I'll be a creator. I'll have a big audience. Then I'll do a book. That's like a crazy main quest, and then doing another crazy main quest. It's like, it's nuts. It's such a distract. Like, if what you really want is to be an author, then just go with that direct. What you really want is to be an entrepreneur, then start a business. Don't say, once I reach a level in my career, then I'll start a bit. Like, or once, don't do that stuff, because reality is probably the best way to approach it is directly.
Yeah.
The fastest path between 2 points is a straight line. And if you start creating a point B that you have to go to first, point A, then to point B, then to point C, and they actually wanted to get to point C in the first place, you should just go directly to point C. For nearly all cases, there are some exceptions, but nearly all cases, it's like, that's what you should do. You shouldn't say, oh, once I get my this, once I do that. Reality is, go after your goals, and you will learn in the process of going after it so much. You'll have so much growth, whether that's starting a business, whether it's launching a blog, whether it's becoming a YouTuber, whatever it is, just get started.
Or a podcast.
Or a podcast, exactly.
Yeah.
Just get started with it, and then don't say, I'll start a podcast when I am famous enough when I have a big enough audience that I can have like super celebrities coming to my podcast. You just have to get started, and you'll learn so much in the process.
Definitely. I can really feel what you're saying, because it's similar on how I approach it. I always thought I needed to wait until I got the perfectly laid out concept and design, and everything needs to be like 110% professional until I can start like a podcast and or write a book or anything. It just what is my thing about my name here is Creative Odyssey, and it's really similar to the topic I want to write about, because this is just what I'm curious about, and what are like the hurdles, the chances people have in their creative journeys. So I want to talk about the people who are creative and do crazy stuff, and and just have like different perspectives that I want to kind of portray in the book. When it's done, I will need to have some arrangements to be made and some fixing, but basically it's the concept is like about like 50 different perspectives someone can have on like their work, on how they can approach it, and not like do this differently or switch around, like maybe like the different kind of techniques, like creativity techniques that are out there, and like Scamper, or I don't know how they're called, but basically how different people see different kinds of work and how they approach it. And the main thing is that creativity is not linear, never. So you cannot expect your first initial thought to be perfect. And this is how kind of it fit together with like the Odyssey, where you finally get to the destination, but after you've came across a lot of crazy stuff. And I'm happy to hear that it went good for you this far, and you were actively at one point, as you said, in Southeast Asia, you were at the point where there must be something more. And this is what really excites me, where people don't think, I could be going from this, it's comfortable, but want to create something of meaning, to challenge themselves, to help others create even better things. And yeah.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there something else you might want to share?
Another example came to my mind when we were talking about, like, when I reach this, then I can start.
Yeah.
The other example is actually, we touched on it, which is me starting my business in the first place. And so the thing that was holding me back is that I thought my website is not ready. And, I'm going to help people with their website. So obviously my website needs to be good. And I'm going to help people with their marketing. So obviously the copywriting on the website needs to be good.
Yeah.
And the layout needs to be nice. And the design needs to be. And so I was being perfectionist about it. And I kept saying, it's not ready. The funniest thing happened. I launched my business. I got my first client without even having a website. So all that time spent perfecting a website, I never launched the website. And then I continued getting other clients and I continued having a successful business and I still had no website. So that's the ultimate irony. I was doing web design, web development, and I didn't even have my own website. And it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And this is why, again, you think, oh, I need this. You think something is a prerequisite, right? You think, oh, I need this, then I can do this. And maybe it's bullshit. And it was bullshit for me, even for something as important as doing websites. I didn't need a website. So imagine if you think, oh, I need to be famous, then I can write a book. The book can help you become famous if you do it right, So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. And I try to not take it personally to just me adjusting my landing page with basically the traffic being mostly myself on the website. But I think, no, I need to kind of arrange like the list on the side. No, I need to have the embed much up higher because this is the first thing you get to see. And then I realized, okay, maybe I need to adjust it once a month and not daily to make it better. And it's all right.
Yeah.
But it's cool for a landing page, but I don't need to have a crazy website because it's basically like a tool and it's for people who want to visit your website. And if they don't need it, then they don't care. So basically makes sense that you can have a running business. And I think it is worse to have like a shitty website than to have yeah.
So it's just a wake up call to just get started.
Yeah.
Start before you're ready. That's a really good advice, is to start before you're ready. It feels like it's wrong. Like the younger version of me was like, what do you mean before I'm ready? I need to be ready, right?
Yeah.
No, but speed is very, very important in entrepreneurship. So just start before you're ready, figure it out as you go. And it's very difficult advice to take for someone of my personality type, but I've learned it over time.
Yeah. It feels weird, and I can agree that starting before you're ready feels wrong. You feel bad and like unprepared most of the times, but you need to kind of adjust and become okay with the feeling that most of the people out there wouldn't even like recognize the small mistakes you make.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we are really good at the time. I always ask my guests for some book recommendations. What are they reading currently, or what recommend to the listener, or maybe what moved you as a...
I've just become so obsessed with Nassim Nicholas Taleb's Anti-Fragile, Black Swan, Skin in the Game, all of his books, basically. It's called the Inserto series. It's a series of all his books. They're all about roughly the same topic, which is how to deal with uncertainty.
Yeah.
He's a philosopher. Like it's really life-changing kind of books. It takes time to understand them, but it's worth it. And they're actually interesting to read. It's not just dense and difficult. But just give it time and it's really interesting. It's really deep. It's really thoughtful. It's really powerful. I love Nassim Nicholas Taleb.
Yeah, I can see that. And the concept of the whole Inserto series must be really strong, because these are by far the most recommended books on the podcast. Almost anyone I've talked to has at least mentioned them or recommended them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they must be really great. And I need to get... I'm kind of hesitant because it's like a series. and I don't want to start like one book, or should I just go chronologically?
Oh, it doesn't matter. His books are fractal. You can start at any point. You can start with whichever one you like. I think Anti-Fragile is the best, to be honest, because it's the best summary of his most powerful ideas in a way.
Yeah.
So Anti-Fragile is the one I would start with, the one I would recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really powerful. It's no, don't worry about the fact that it's a series. It's not like they're not sequels of each other.
Yeah. Okay. Is there like another maybe hidden gem you're on top of mind? Unfair Advantage is a good book, I would say.
Thank you. Non-fiction?
Any type.
Any? Okay, so if it's any, I'm recently getting into fiction more. I used to read fiction when I was younger, and I recently getting into it more. There was a great TV series called Shogun. It's on Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever. It's actually the second time they make a series. In the 80s, they made a series about it. It's called Shogun. It's based on the novel by James Clavell, also called Shogun. And it's a historical fiction. Brilliant book. It's an absolutely brilliant story. It's like so immersive. It's long, but in a great way. Like you want to be immersed in that world for long. The story is the first English sailor or explorer, you could say. They're actually called a pilot, but they used to have pilots for ships back in the age of exploration in the 1600s. So he's actually a pilot of a ship. And so he understands navigation really well, etc. And he went to Japan in 1600 or 1603 or something around then. And it was the first time pretty much the first time Westerners see Japan. I think there were some Portuguese there. There were some Jesuits. Yeah. And they had already converted some of the Japanese. And it's just such a fascinating story because it's like alien culture, you know? And it's relatively historically accurate in terms of like the authenticity of it, etc. So it's just a great story. So it's called Shogun. And the story is an English who was on a Dutch ship and they ended up shipwrecked in Japan. They weren't trying. I don't know if they were trying to get to Japan. I can't remember. I think they weren't. And they ended up shipwrecked in Japan. And then he rises up in Japan to become the advisor to the shogun, which is like the emperor, kind of like an emperor or a ruler or like something like that, like a military ruler. Brilliant story. So I highly recommend Shogun by James Clavell. It's great.
Yeah, I can hear that you're fascinated. And definitely I wanted to get more into fiction because I was more of a competitive reader. Everything I read needs to be productive, and now I think anything that makes me curious is worthwhile reading. And I really like the Japanese history, and I should check that out.
I didn't mention that it's samurai. It's like all samurai.
Yeah, the samurai.
It's very samurai.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting. I feel like you can learn a lot of lessons from fiction and from stories. It's not. It's really fascinating how they control like Japanese traditional culture, and it's not unique to Japan, but maybe Japan have it stronger. But it's kind of an Asian thing. It's like a kind of like a stoicism.
Yep.
They have this. It's very important to not like the Japanese, especially was like it was kind of like why it was embarrassing for someone to show emotion in public too much, and one of the differences between the Europeans and the Japanese is that how much the Europeans show their emotions, and the Japanese is very, very polite society. Everything has rules and etiquettes and customs, and it's like you see, like for example, talking about like what you can learn, because obviously I have that background too of like self-development books and business books. But what you can learn is like how someone can be a leader, a very strong leader. We're talking like almost like a warlord, right? But how they can be like a warlord, but also have such a softness and softness as in like politeness to them.
Yeah.
So they're not like yelling or like swearing. it's like they control their emotion. It's really, really fascinating. So yeah, so there's a value to it. It's not just it's just interesting, although that's good enough reason. It's a great story, but there's also value to it, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. You kind of hyped me up for like samurai culture again, and
you can also watch it. Like
yeah, definitely. I think I put it on the list, but I've kind of ignored it.
It's beautiful.
But, yeah,
it's a beautiful show. It's like very beautifully shot, so it's also a great show too. That's what the show made me read the book. Well, actually, I listened to an audiobook and I loved it, so I highly recommend that.
Yeah. All right, Hasan, thank you. We can maybe find out the next time to talk more about samurai and anything else. But I think this episode really was interesting, and I'm really appreciative for you taking the time. And I will just stop the recording, and then we can just wrap it up. All right. See ya then.
Thank you. Bye.
If you've enjoyed listening to my podcast, you can show support by following me and hit the bell to never miss out on my latest content. I'd appreciate a positive review too. You can find more of my content on www.emilroot.com. Thanks and bye for now.